Let's review the topics we've covered so far in this activity. So we've started with the array part, but actually before that, we really started with things that we had previously learned. Right? And so we put some of these things that we've talked about and used in the past and put them to work right away. So we were able to connect to a .js file and add a div with an ID attribute so we could access it with JavaScript. We used JavaScript functions, and we wrote the function and called it. We used the document.getElementById method to be able to access an HTML element. We used the inner HTML property. Actually, we changed it, right, by writing a table to it. And the plus equal operator. This may be the first time we've used this. We've seen it before, but here we got to actually use it to build a string. And then we used the date object and methods that go with the date object. The new material was creating an array, and there's a couple of ways to create an array. You can even create an empty array and then add elements later. One property is the array length property, and we'll use that, especially as we move forward into loops, we'll use that. Then we went over several array methods. The toString, both the explicit toString method and the automatic toString method. Pushing and popping, so you can use that with an array to make it work like a stack. Shifting and unshifting, which is adding and removing from the front of the array. We learned about delete, to be able to delete an element from array, but we also talked about some of the disadvantages of using that method. Then there was a splice method where we could insert or remove items at different places inside an array. And we talked about two methods that actually produce new arrays. So they use the concatenate, takes two arrays, puts them together to form a new array. Splice or slice does the same thing. It takes a portion of an existing array and extracts the specified elements and puts them in a new array. And then we also talked about the reverse method. We looked at the sort method, which works really great for arrays of strings, but not so well with numbers. So it does work with numbers if you use a compare function, right? And so here's an example of how to use the sort method with a function that identifies, and this particular function works really good to sort numeric values. So that's what we've covered so far in this activity.